if human beings become too addicted to technology, has our constant use of social media caused our soft skills to decline? And as a result, have we increased the risk of losing our jobs or getting replaced by a machine or artificial intelligence? Let's find out. Who of you here are between the ages of 12 to 34? Okay, that's a lot of you. That puts you squarely in that much talked about cohort or generation called the millennials, who are people born between 1982 to 2004. Millennials are known as the most savvy generation because you know that you can't rely on just one company to give you a job for life. And you've probably seen or heard either your parents or your grandparents lose their job or get laid off despite giving 20 to 30 years of their life in one company. Forbes magazine calls the millennials as the most entrepreneurial generation. You know that you can't rely on anyone or anything to give you stable employment. So that's why you'd like to create your own opportunities and fearlessly create those companies that will change the world. Millennials are also going to control where technology and social media are going to take all of us, because you're the heaviest users of these things. And that's precisely why manufacturers design their tablets and their smartphones to cater exclusively to your tastes and your desires. So today I'd like to share with you a dream that I have, and I'd like to invite you to help me achieve them. First, I'd like to be able to help people become more engaged at work. Because right now, only 30% of people are happy or engaged with their jobs. That leaves 70% disengaged, or basically dragging themselves to the office every single day doing jobs that they don't like. Second, I'd like to ask for your help to correct a serious imbalance, which is that 20% of the world's population controls 80% of its wealth. This 80-20 ratio is also famously known as the Pareto principle, by the way. And this is how it's used at work. They say that in any company, 20% of the workforce generates 80% of the output. Or to put that in more simple terms, that just means that 80% of us work for the remaining 20% that generate 80% of a company's revenue, create all the rules that we have to follow, and also have the power to hire and fire people. And finally, I'd like to ask for your help to make sure that artificial intelligence stays where it belongs, which is that it continues to serve us and not the other way around. So let's take a closer look at AI. They say that artificial intelligence, the promise of AI, is that life will become easier for all of us. And that's because human beings don't have to work, or at least not have to work as much. That's why we're seeing more and more machines and software take over those routine and menial jobs like supermarket cashiers, bank tellers, and travel agents. AI has become so smart and so powerful that it has taken over not only those routine and assembly line type of jobs, it has taken over or infiltrated complex technical fields like medicine, law, and even financial planning. You may have heard about robo-lawyers, which are applications that help legal experts do discovery. Or you might have read about robo-surgeons, which are highly advanced machines that help doctors perform complex surgeries. Or you might have even read about robo-advisors, which are software that helps financial planners recommend investments to their clients. AI has made such great strides that it has managed to replicate hard or technical skills, the kind that human beings take years to learn. The only area where they continue to not do as well is in the area of soft skills. which is what CEOs and high-level executives use at work every single day. So this brings us to an interesting juncture in our existence, which is that, does it make, or is it good for us not to have to work? What purpose would human beings continue to serve if all we did every day was stay at home and not do anything, or go to the beach and sip pina coladas all day? But more importantly, how are we going to continue to earn a living if all the jobs get taken away by machines and software? Now, I'd love to hear how scientists and engineers will answer that last question. Because if they don't, we're all pretty much screwed. So now that we know where AI is headed, let's take a look at how human beings are doing as a species. Researchers from the University of Michigan say that compared to 30 or 40 years ago, human beings now have developed less empathy, with empathy being defined as the ability to walk in someone else's shoes or simply feel how they're feeling. They say that if we saw a person lying on the ground being kicked and beaten by a group of thugs, people 30 or 40 years ago would have rushed to help that man and stop the beating. They say that now, people would react differently if they came across the same situation. Psychologists say that if this were to happen today, people would simply stand to one side passively, not do anything, except maybe grab their smartphone, take a picture, upload it to social media, and discuss this event with rather complete detachment with their friend. So it looks like we've gone from being proactive participants to being detached and even uncaring spectators. In a survey conducted by CareerBuilder, they say that 77% of employers complain at how their newest and younger hires have inadequate problem-solving and critical thinking skills, poor verbal and written communication skills, and weak leadership and conflict resolution skills. These are also known, by the way, as soft skills. I like to call them CEO-level skills, because these are the skills that CEOs use on top of their pre-existing hard or technical skills to effectively manage the companies. These are the exact same skills you're going to need to inspire your own employees once you operate your own businesses. So now that we've seen AI continuously move forward and human beings kind of slide backwards, at least in terms of soft skills and in caring for other human beings, what can we do then to make sure that we always have jobs and we don't get replaced by machines or AI? Well, I have two suggestions for you. One, we need to think and act like business owners. Second, we need to master those all-important soft skills that CEOs and top-level executives use so we can stay ahead of the game. So how do we think and act like a business owner? Well, there's two ways we can go about this. One is we need to go to work every day and deliver 100% so that we can end up doing a really good job. Try to avoid doing the bare minimum, because what that does is put you in that 70% of unhappy and disengaged people who are prone to getting replaced by machines or software, which, by the way, can do things better, cheaper, and faster than we can ever do. Also, there's that added bonus that machines and software don't ever complain about their lousy boss or their crappy job. Another way that you can think and act like a business owner is to come to work and try and eliminate distraction altogether, and try and just focus all your attention on whatever it is that you need to do at that moment, whether it's attending a presentation like this or a meeting, finishing a project, or talking to another human being. How many of you have been in a conversation where you notice the other person, half listening to you. And the other half, they're trying to do something like maybe read an email or send a text on their smartphone. Okay, well, that's what happens. But isn't it a little bit annoying? And actually, in the workplace, this would even be considered rude and disrespectful behavior. But this is what we do to each other every single day. And this is how we end up undermining those relationships that we have, either socially or in business. You see, technology and social media have never been the problem. Our biggest problem today is actually distraction, or trying to do too many things all at one time. You see, people like Bill Gates, who created Microsoft, or Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, created these billion-dollar companies, not by having their focus and attention scattered in 3 or more different directions. They did this by focusing their time and their energy on creating such innovative products and services that would completely change our lives. So how do you master soft skills? Well, I have 2 suggestions around this. One is you need to get out of your house and do some old-fashioned networking and even dating. I remember a time, or the first time that I went business networking. I went to an event, and there were like 80 or more people there, and I didn't know what to do or what to say. I was totally frozen in one spot. I was terrified. And it didn't help that no one approached me to welcome me or introduce me to anybody else, because everyone else was already having conversations with other people. In any case, I decided to just dive in, and at the end of that networking event, I said, you know what? I'm going to keep on going to these things and continue to improve my interpersonal and people skills. And that's what I did. I kept on going and going to these networking events, slowly improving bit by bit, polishing my rough edges, until eventually I even ended up writing a book about effective networking. And it didn't stop there. I did the second most terrifying thing that a human being could ever do, which is I went to do public speaking, which, as you may or may not know, is the second biggest fear of people after death. So here I was, going on stages, talking about how to create relationships out of thin air. Imagine me talking about relationships. I was the least popular and least liked guy in high school and university, and keeping people at the edge of their seats. That was totally surreal. But it was also fun. And that's when I realized, though, that if you want to be good at something, you just need to put in the time, the energy, and put in the constant practice to be really good at whatever it is that you want to do. Remember that AI has already mastered those technical or hard skills. The only area where they still struggle is soft skills. And that's where you can maintain your competitive edge. Remember that if you master soft skills, companies will find you valuable, and you'll be harder to replace by a piece of machinery or a piece of software. Another way that you can try and master soft skills is by volunteering in maybe a soup kitchen or some kind of nonprofit. This will force you to get out of your comfort zone and interact with people who are completely different from you. I remember the first time I went to a soup kitchen when I was a young man. I came across these poor homeless people. But what surprised me was this individuals who were dressed in business suits, actually, and they looked like they came from work. And eventually I found out that these were people who were down on their luck, had actually lost their job or lost their business, and consequently they'd lost their house, their car, and all their money. So they had no place else to go and nothing to eat. So there they were, trying to get food. And that's when I realized how fortunate I was and how much better off I was compared to most of the people in that room. And that's also when I realized that I needed to go out more and care for people and not just keep thinking about myself. Okay, so today I have a threefold challenge for you that I'd like you to seriously consider and consider implementing once this conference is done. One, I'd like you to think about a way that you can use technology and social media to change the rules and level the playing field. In other words, I'd like you to think of a way to take that wealth that's concentrated in that 20% and be able to spread it to 100% of people on the planet. In other words, I'd like you to think of a way so that everyone on Earth can become rich. If that seems kind of like an abstract or a daunting task, I'd like you to think of probably an easier challenge, which is to look for people who have good business ideas, really solid business ideas, and then think of a way that you can help their business get off the ground, either by investing money as a financier or angel investor, or giving them solid business advice as a mentor, which, by the way, are two excellent ways to get your feet wet in business, apart from starting your own companies. My second challenge for you is to think of a way that you can use technology, social media, to get more people engaged at work. There's just way too much unhappiness out there, and I think we have to do something about it. So to get on this path, what I recommend is to think about your own career. Start closer to home. Think about those companies that you like to work for, and try and look for companies whose mission, vision, and values are closely aligned with yours. That way, you'll be able to spread your wings much more easily and be able to do what you do best and be able to go to work in an environment that not only supports you, but allows you to be happy every single day. Finally, I'd like you to not be able to do these challenges by yourself. I'd like you to get some help and try and influence or inspire your peers, your coworkers, and your boss to help you change the game and level the playing field. Keep in mind that influencing and inspiring others are two important leadership skills that you may want to develop. And the best way to do this is to volunteer and to support great ideas, good people, and worthy causes. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you good luck in your careers and in changing the world. Thank you.